Good afternoon, everybody. This is Wesley Hudson, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of High Point. I'd like to welcome you to our afternoon meeting. This is simply a manager's briefing for us. We have Allie, Arpesian.
You got it.
I know. Have Allie Arpesian with us today, the head of our Arts Council, to give us an update.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for having me this evening. I'm also grateful to Carlos Olvera, our board chair, who's present tonight in support. And just thank you so much for all your support, all that you do, and giving me 20 minutes just to kind of talk to you about all the exciting changes that we're doing and some ideas I have to really help become this arts and design mecca that we're all talking about. So I'm assuming on your computer you can see my presentation, right? Okay, cool. I'm learning.
You see it here.
Oh, hello. Look at that. All right. So the way that I kind of envision the Arts Council, I see it in 3 different pillars. And I know some people are familiar with what we do, and I also recognize that some are not quite familiar. So forgive me, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview. I see the 3 pillars as the first one being fundraising. So we do a lot of fundraising, not only to support our operational costs, but really to support the arts community here. So this year we've given out $51,000 in grants to the High Point Ballet, the High Point Community Theater, and the Community Concert Association, our arts affiliates that we're very proud of. Something new this year is that we get grassroots funding from the North Carolina Arts Council, and in partnership with Arts Greensboro, we were able to give out over $86,000 in grants this year to organizations. And about a little over $28,000 was contributed to organizations in High Point that are either based in High Point or they have a leader out of High Point. And those organizations are the Mind Group, the International Society of Furniture Designers. They're doing a podcast featuring, I believe it's BIPOC furniture designers in the area. And the Mind Group's doing a listening group of new artists that are BIPOC throughout the area too. The Poetry Cafe and the Gant School of Music and Jazz. So we're really excited for this possibility to expand our outreach and our funding. We also do some programming, which I'll talk about in a few minutes here. And then the third pillar I see us as being an advocate for the arts. Next month, we're going to Arts Day, which all the large arts leaders in North Carolina will go to talk to legislators, thank them for their support, tell them about the hard work that we're doing. And I'm really working very, very hard for the Arts Council to be back at the table in many of our spaces throughout High Point, promoting the arts. And I think a lot of you are seeing that work in progress by being here too. So our impact this year, I know some people have been curious about, where is our investment going? Well, in partnership with all of the wonderful organizations that I just told you about, their story is our story. So in the past year, we've impacted over 41,000 individuals in the community, and we've been lucky to hire over 200, almost 250 artists through the work that we're doing, which is really exciting. I've got a breakdown here of demographics for you all. I won't go through all of that, but I will say that we are striving to have more diversity and have more different cultural representation in our programming. I'm really proud that the new programs that we've been implementing have significantly increased diversity, not just in race, but also in age. So we're really seeing the breakdown of what we know in High Point. And the next area that we're looking into is tapping in to, I know there's a large Pakistani community here. We want to figure out where all the international folks of our international city are hiding, and we want to talk to them about arts. So we have a lot of initiatives to expand that. So for those that don't know our education programming, we do a songwriter circle that gathers monthly. That's a free event. Songwriters in the Round is a quarterly concert where we feature new artists and their original songs. The Pullman Poet Society is also a free monthly group that individuals can gather to write poetry. We do the John Coltrane Jazz Workshop, which is a summer camp, and we offer teacher grants to support our education programs. Arts and entertainment. I want you to know that Art Splash is really exciting this year. It's changing quite a bit. We're moving it from Sunday evenings to Friday evenings. We're looking at having some food trucks and possibly some alcoholic beverages if we find the right partner. So we imagine having a larger crowd this summer. We also have done an open call for bands, which is different than in years past. And it's providing us with some great insight of some other artists that we haven't heard of or thought of before that have a really strong following. And it also gets that community buy-in and input that we're striving to get. So we're excited for you to experience Art Splash this year, and thank you again for the city's huge partnership in pulling this off. We're also talking in April to y'all about Day in the Park and throwing that together as well. Again, I know it's been on hiatus, but we're excited to bring it back. And then we have different events that we run throughout the year at the Arts Council, dance events, cultural events, all that good stuff. So what's new at the Arts Council? So these are some of the new programs that we've brought in since I came on board, which is now 6 months ago. Piano bar karaoke has been really, really fun. We're bringing it back at the end of the month. It features a live pianist, and then people come up and they sing, and that has brought out a younger crowd for us. Jazz Brunch was hugely successful, and we're looking to bring back another jazz event for April to celebrate Jazz Appreciation Month. And this event had brought out a very diverse crowd for us, which was wonderful. We're doing open mic nights in collaboration with our songwriters and our Pullman Poet Society to encourage partnership between those groups and the community. And our Makers Market, we had about 250 people attend this event. It was wildly successful. A lot of our arts vendors sold out, especially if they made food. Everyone was hungry that day. So we're trying lots of new things. We're incorporating new summer camps, and we're doing an intro to songwriting camp, we are doing a songwriting camp, but we're also doing an intro to songwriting group coming up in May for 6 weeks that we're hoping will develop a pipeline for our songwriters group that's a little bit more established. So as we think about our programs and as we program out, especially now that we have someone overseeing our programs, we're really looking to lean into a few different aspects as the Arts Council. Some of that, as you can tell, is widening our umbrella for support for all the arts organizations, and not just hitting historically the arts affiliates that we've supported, but new groups we're bringing into our circle and building that community. We want to just lean into being an international city and having more representation about what that looks like on our art stage and on our events. And John Coltrane, we really want to lean into John Coltrane. I'm thinking, developing a youth jazz ensembles, having more activities happening during Jazz Appreciation Month, which is what JAM stands for, and the educational programs as well. There's definitely gaps in needing some more after-school opportunities and programming for ages 0 to 5 and early childhood as well. So what we're looking at right now as we talk about where we want to go, a lot of that falls into our strategic planning. So we're at an exciting year. We're rebuilding a whole staff. I brought Jada Weathers by last time for y'all to meet. And we have a lot of board members this year that have served their full term and they're getting ready to roll off the board. So there's a lot of new energy here at the Arts Council, which we're very excited about. I have a list of names, but they haven't been confirmed yet by our board, so I won't share all of those exciting names yet. But do know that more diversity is coming onto our board, not just in race, but also in age as well, and skill set, of course. And through Arts Greensboro's initiative with the ARPA dollars that they secured through the county, they've developed this really wonderful cohort that we are also a part of, and we are getting great insight into strategic planning through this cohort to build sustainability. So it's really helping to take time to look at our mission, look at our vision, our values, and reevaluate this as we basically rebrand ourselves for the future of the Arts Council and determine where we're going. We have conducted a needs assessment, and we've pulled a lot of great data from the community about what they want and what they want to see their culture and their arts experience to be here in High Point. So we started off the survey, and our next step is we're reaching out to several different organizations to talk about popping up in those spaces, to have conversations with the community and basically do focus groups. So we've been talking with the High Point Library about having a different site there. We've got some senior communities that we're targeting. We're looking at different pockets where we can really find representation for the Asian community, the Indian community, Black community, Latino community. So we're being very intentional. And actually this week, Jada is reaching out to these organizations to set up meetings so we can pop up in these spaces and really make sure we're getting everybody's voice in the conversation. Based off of our needs assessment, that is going to help us to figure out the programming that we'll be offering for the next several years. And we do have a strategic plan. I've had a few people ask if we do have that. We do have one. And I will be sure to email it out to everybody to follow up on our conversation today. And the next phase, when we bring on this new board at the end of June, would be to really dive into developing more SMART goals for that strategic plan so we can have more measurable things. I don't want it to be, I know every nonprofit doesn't want it to be a document that we work really hard on and lives on the shelf. We want it to be a living, breathing thing that we reevaluate every year and is holding us accountable for where we're going. So all of this together, I kind of see this as a big rebrand really for the Arts Council. And in the next 3 to 5 years, I would love that to mean possibly getting a new logo, new signage, you know, all of this that goes into really launching a big undertaking like that. So we do have new partnerships forming as well, which I wanted you to be aware of. With our university partners, High Point U has been a wonderful partner for us. We were actually just there last week talking to the students. We have an intern currently in event management from there. And we've been talking with the cultural committee about possibly launching a multicultural festival at some point next year. So that is an exciting partnership for us. With GTCC, we've also been talking to them about student interns. I think a lot of people don't even realize the gem that is sitting 4 minutes from here, and that is the fact that they have a world-class sound and lighting program, and we're trying to figure out how to tap more into that and be more intentional with giving those students opportunities in the theater. We're also starting a community band with GTCC launching this fall. We've identified there's not a lot of ensemble opportunities for the community here, so that's definitely a gap to be filled. And with UNCG, we currently have MBA students that are helping us with our strategic planning and helping us figure out different ways to be sustainable and new revenue opportunities, so that's been great. And we are working with the ethnomusicology professor there to really look at the different cultural programs that we can bring and different artists that are present in the community as well. For community organizations, we've been talking with the John Coltrane Project about really tapping into that as being an identity for the city here. So we're looking at providing some more programs for youth and utilizing their space in the house. And I brought on the Gant School of Jazz with Titus Gant. They have wonderful jazz instructors, so we're looking to do more youth jazz programming, and they would learn how to play jazz in the house, which is really cool. With Sabrina's Gallery on Main, we currently have a grant request out. We're waiting to see if it gets funded, but Sabrina and I have collaborated to build an arts and business cohort where we would take 15 visual artists and they would get foundational skills in art with Sabrina. And then for the next part of the cohort, so that would be 8 weeks, and then the next part they would get business skills and come to the Arts Council. We would bring in leaders in arts and business business to really teach them business skills and how to market their art and how to sell it properly. So we're waiting on that. We're crossing our fingers for that one. We've been reaching out with Imani at Vidmark International School of Dance, who is an incredible instructor for various styles, and we're looking to do some international dance nights at the Arts Council to build community. Jane and I at High Point by Design have been having lots of different ideas about lots of different things. We haven't quite settled on something yet, but I just want you to be aware that that arts and design partnership is blooming and building. And with Visit High Point, thanks to their leadership, we've become an autism-friendly center. We've gone through the training. We've got our designation. I'm super passionate about that. I actually started a cohort called the Triad Arts Accessibility Group several years back to teach arts leaders how to be accessible for individuals with disabilities. So I'm hoping to be able to incorporate those skills for Art Splash to have a sensory-friendly element to it, as well as Day in the Park, and doing some visual guides and just hitting a new demographic of folks and being truly inclusive. We're also working with a team out of Visit High Point that's planning the Arts Festival. They haven't quite landed on a date yet, but we are included in that conversation. So exciting things to come. And we are waiting to see if we'll be awarded. We won't know until the end of the summer, but we did build a Spark the Arts grant through the North Carolina State Arts Council to build a cohort of arts leaders and artists in the community to learn about inclusion in the arts, to really build on the fact that we want to be an autism-friendly city. So we're hoping to impact other leaders to make their programming accessible, and we would bring in self-advocates and artists with disabilities to really lead those conversations and to talk about the needs and how to be accessible. So we're hoping for that to come. Other changes with facility, we've been developing new policies and procedures for our rental to increase our revenue, thus increasing our sustainability. Emergency management planning is something that we've been underway too. We've also been reaching out and working with Colton to make sure that we have emergency management plans for each of the parks for when we do Art Splash. So we're being very, very intentional with safety with each of our events. We have exciting updates coming to the bar. We are getting a POS system in. We've reevaluated our pricing. We're making things more efficient for our patrons and in turn helping our sustainability as well. And we've organized our spaces very differently. Everyone that comes in just says it feels different in the Arts Council. It has a different energy, so people are noticing the work that we put in a short amount of time. And we've got exciting renovations happening to the exterior. If you've driven by, you've probably seen lots of trucks and lots of plants and lots of things happening, and we are beautifying the Arts Council. We're making it more attractive. And that is thanks to some really generous support from the state. And we just got another $150,000 to renovate our train car. So we'll be renovating the outside of the train car. And then we are hopeful in the future to do the inside. So we'll have to wait and see. Other internal changes that are happening is we've really shifted a whole culture at the Arts Council. We've got a fabulous team. We adore each other. We're small and we're mighty, and we just work very, very hard, and we're passionate about what we're doing, and we see the energy and we see all the potential, and we're excited to come to work every day. We're also really being intentional about building up our volunteer program for all these wonderful ideas that we have, and our internship program. I've kind of mentioned we're really working closer with our universities to make that happen. If you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram, make sure you are, because if you have been seeing, we've been doing lots of marketing efforts and really increasing that. We got TikTok, so we're cool, and we've got lots of reels going on, and the engagement has just increased significantly through the marketing efforts that we've been doing, and it's an exciting time, so we're just hope to keep growing that. I've been intentional about developing a case for support for us. I've been asking all of our grantees and our participants to give us testimonials on the work that we're doing, because again, their story is our story. So we want to know how our programs are impacting them, and we've gotten some really, really powerful testimonials that just go back into building that case for support so that you can know what we're doing, our donors know what we're doing, and the impact of their dollars spent. And then we've been leaning into some tech improvements as well, and just getting everybody on the team on some new exciting things. We've been going through training for our ticketing system, and all of this goes into just being more efficient, more customer friendly, and again, driving our impact and our sustainability. So based off of all of that I'm telling you, what's next for us? Where are we going? Well, the reason why we're doing this needs assessment is to figure that out, that exact question. So as we're going about our needs assessment, we have found that there is a real opportunity that the Arts Council can fill a gap here. And about 65% of our High Point residents are looking for an improvement in our cultural events. And about 96% are attending events outside of High Point. Okay, well, we're probably not really surprised by that data, right? So there's a gap to fill. They're either going to Greensboro or they're going to Winston-Salem to engage in their arts and culture, and they're spending their money there. And how do we keep them here and increase the quality of life here and have them spend money here, right? Well, when we also ask about what do you want to see? If we program something, I want to make sure that it's something that you need and something that you want to show up to. So what does that look like? Well, 70% want community-wide gatherings. So they're looking for festivals. They're looking for big events that draw large crowds. There is a huge want for public art. About 60% of folks are looking for more public art. So we're going to cross our fingers about that Bloomberg grant and hope that pulls through. And 57%, they really want to lean into, again, the international city. They want to celebrate diversity through the arts. The arts is perfect for that. 45% want to see more educational programs, and 43% want more opportunities for professional development for artists. They want arts after-school programming for youth, and they want to see more gallery openings as well. So there's a hunger, there's excitement, but we need resources to make all of that happen, right? We need capacity, we need money, we need people to pull off all of these big things. So I have an idea that I want to throw at you. We want to become an arts and design mecca. Well, we've got a great opportunity at hand. How do we get there? And what I see as a great opportunity is the ARPA dollars that are on the table. This is a once-in-a-lifetime investment that we have, the opportunity to really lean into becoming this mecca. So what does that look like? Well, first let's talk about why the arts. Why are the arts important? I think a lot of y'all have already identified this. I've had many conversations with each of you, and there's so much passion here, and there's investment. I mean, almost everyone on city council has a link to the arts. Either you've been in ballet, or you're a drummer, or you sing and you haven't told anybody that you sing, or you lead a choir, or your daughter went to the community theater. There's just so many ways that y'all are connected. I know you know this. So I won't harp on everything, but we know that the arts builds community, increases our community pride. We're looking to really elevate the image here in High Point. Boom, the arts do that. It helps to improve our mental health. Everybody's identified that as a huge need coming out of COVID, right? That we need to make sure that we're investing our resources in improving our mental health, which helps our quality of life. It aids in being a better problem solver. It teaches youth about discipline and teamwork and the benefit of being a creative leader. Forbes is identifying, the arts is one of the top skills for developing all of these skills right here. So investing the arts for our youth is hugely important. It also helps them matriculate through school because they're invested. They want to stay in. They have a reason to show up to school, right? It helps with beautification, revitalization, all the things that we are excited about in High Point, that we're talking about in all these spaces. Provides jobs, it increases our tourism, and it tells the story of our community leaders and members. Again, back to, harping on John Coltrane. A lot of folks, I was just talking to Joel Williams, a lot of folks think he's from Philly, so we have a long way to go, and well, the John Coltrane Jazz Festival is hugely successful in making sure that is known that he was from High Point, but I think as the Arts Council, we can also help with that. And of course, it increases our joy, makes us happy. We all want to be happy. So what are the issues for our community here at hand? Well, I think one of the big issues is capacity building. We have a rather fragile arts ecosystem here. We've got folks that are passionate, they really love what they're doing, they're proud of what they're doing, and they could do a lot more if they had more staffing. And of course, with that, more funding to make their programs happening. And as I'm seeing the grants come across our table and the applications come across, I'm also seeing, okay, there's also some education that needs to be invested into our leaders. Some of them just need grant writing skills. A lot of us need to understand how to evaluate our programming, to tell our story, to help getting that next wave of funding, to show our impact. And a lot of folks are coming up to me and saying they want spaces to create, but they don't have the space for a studio or to teach music lessons, and. So we need more spaces for our artists. The storytelling aspect, marketing is a huge need. We need just tools to make sure that people know what's going on in the community. I talked to High Point U about this quite a bit. They're doing a lot of free programs on their campus, but folks don't know because their website's not always the easiest to navigate, and there's no one entity really helping to get the word out about, hey, this month, come to this event, these are the free events in the arts. That's what would keep people staying in our city, right? And just being better at building those community partnerships and those lines of communication. And I think the Arts Council can lean into that as being an umbrella, having people collaborate, because it seems like folks are doing things in little silos. Let's bring them together, and when we partner, we have more resources and we're stronger. So here's my thought to kind of combat each of those and really build this strong infrastructure to make us an arts and design mecca. And I'd love your feedback and your thoughts on this. But my first thought is doing $50,000 in grants that the Arts Council would be able to grant out to our arts partners. $250,000 would go towards building a cohort and providing grants to these arts organizations. So what would that cohort look like? Well, they would be going through a learning cohort where they would understand how to reach new patrons that they haven't reached before, how to be more accessible, racial equity training. This would go back to capacity building, sustainability, targeting a new population of patrons that they have not previously served before. They would also get information on how to better write grants that are designed for the arts, and evaluation data on how to tell their story. They would have different trainings and all of this to make them stronger organizations. We would also have an aspect of providing programming grants so that folks would be able to sustain their programmings and build up their programming through that. And I think that with this, even if we were to grant 10 organizations, through the data that we have reporting back to us from our organizations, each of our organizations touches about 13,000 individuals in a year. So if we were able to grant out 20 organizations over 2 years, that'd be 260,000 people that we'd be able to touch just through that one grant. My next idea is in order to provide these spaces that folks are looking for and to really build up new works happening, is that we could do artist in residency, and $150,000 would go towards that. And it actually would be in partnership with the John Coltrane Project, with the Art Gallery, and Guilford County Schools. And I have talked to John Coltrane Project and to the Art Gallery, and they are planning to write letters of support for this idea as well. So what this would look like is we would house residents, if they're a jazz workshop, they would go to the John Coltrane House to do a jazz residency. If they are a visual artist, they would go to the art gallery to do their residency, and anybody else and anyone in between can come to the Arts Council. And we would house them for over 1 to 4 months, depending on what their project idea is. And a component of their residency would be to work with Guilford County Schools, and I do have a meeting in place to talk with them further about this idea. And they would work in partnership with one of the classroom teachers in Guilford County Schools to really hit what they are talking about within the classroom and to incorporate the arts into that as well. The next idea that I have within this is artist support grants. A lot of our artists just need supplies and materials to get things going, so we would do small grants to support out to our artists. And then we would also do the same for artists in Guilford County Schools and building up our arts educators as well to give them the tools that they need to be successful. Again, for all those reasons we said before about the value of the arts for our students. Then that's phase one of how I'm seeing the ARPA dollars to be able to really build up sustainability for our arts programs in developing these grant initiatives. The next phase is addressing the community needs that we've been identifying within our community needs assessment. So I was talking about the need for more marketing for the arts, and I think as the Arts Council, we could partner with a marketing firm to really develop skills to highlight all the arts and the design that is happening. And I'm proposing like $80,000 to go towards that to make this initiative happen, to help brand our community as being this destination for arts and design. If we were awarded this grant program, we would need someone to oversee it and be able to sustain ourselves for the future and really invest in our development and our resources. So $120,000 over 2 years to go towards a development officer that would oversee the grant funding program for this. And then also to address all of those community needs, we need more capacity and more staff building. So we would look for we would have a full-time events and entertainment manager to address these needs that the community is looking for, to help to bring more revenue into town when we have arts events, to build our community and to increase our image there. And then a lot of folks have identified that they would like to see some capital improvements into the inside of the Arts Council as well. We have a need for more art in the Arts Council, so a tracking system. Our lighting needs to be improved. Our sound system can be tweaked a little bit. And we would want to work in partnership with High Point by Design to really lighten up the space. So we're looking at $150,000 for that and $50,000 to expand the programming into what we are doing in partnership with John Coltrane Project and all the wonderful partners that I had mentioned earlier that are looking for support. So I think this is an excellent time to really use the money to invest in becoming in this arts and design mecca, to bring sustainability to this arts ecosystem, the excitement of the revitalization, the transformation, and in looking at all the numbers, I mean, when I break it down, and my husband works for Guilford County Schools, so I know the data in the Guilford County Schools, and I was talking to him about the breakdown of what this would look like. I think with a big, wide-reaching idea like this, I mean, we could touch over 1 million people. We could have different impacts 1 million times with our community because we're working with other arts organizations to really widen our reach here and to build sustainability. So I just kind of wanted to give you an overview of where we're going, what we're doing, what's ahead, and the needs that we have in the community, and throwing out an idea for what I think we could utilize the ARPA dollars for, but would also love your feedback and your input and any questions that you have for me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Allie, and thank you, Carlos, for being here. Good to have both of you with us. Any questions from our council?
Mayor Pro Tem Hudson, I don't have any questions, and I also recognize that we are at time for our meeting, but I do just want to say a few brief comments. Thank you, Ali, as well. Thank you, Carlos, and everyone else who came. It's clear that the work you all have put in has been really intentional, and quite frankly, it's been impactful. Everything I've been hearing all over town, there's quite a buzz about the work y'all are doing to improve the culture there, the exciting events that have been put on already. Very excited about the events that are coming this summer. I think your approach to leveraging the unique assets that are here in our community, whether it's the fact that we are an international city, the fact that we have such stellar nonprofits and institutions that you can partner with, or whether it's the fact that John Coltrane, this is his childhood home and we can leverage that, I think is a very wise strategy. It also sounds like the approach that you are taking for capacity building and recognizing that, you know, if we do this the right way, then there's so many ramifications and very positive benefits of that. All I can really say is thank you. It's refreshing that in a city where, you know, our mayor, who's not with us and we miss him in his absence, often talks about a high point so many years ago when we wanted to get more dreaming out there of what we could be. And now it seems like every day we get to hear about organizations and institutions who are pushing the limits on where they can go and how they can make an incredible impact here in our city. I don't want to take that for granted, and I don't want to take it lightly, because you all could have chosen to be much more modest in where we could go, but you were very bold. And it was not only bold, I think it was also very socially responsible, because everything we saw today sounds like you thought very hard and very long about this. Kudos to staff, kudos to board for all of that. I'm reminded of something that Jeff Horney said in the meeting that some of us were in last week. I know Mayor Pro Tem Hudson was there and Councilman Peters, Alley, you were there too. We talked about how our city is in the middle of revitalization and that you can't have revitalization without the arts. And it's interesting because what it made me think about is sort of a renaissance, if you will. So if anyone ends up saying High Point Renaissance, I want my royalties because I first coined that here today on this dais. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, I just the idea of the role that arts can play and where we're going, I think is so incredible. And you hit the nail on the head when you said culture. It's often a reminder that culture eats strategy, it eats policy, it eats everything else for breakfast. If culture's not right, nothing else works. So thank you for being very intentional investing in your culture and helping to invest in the culture of High Point and where we're going in our future. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'll just say bravo. When I met with you several months ago, I think you hit everything I talked to you about in your presentation.
listening.
And that's encouraging because we as a council, you know, our job is to communicate to staff and to organizations like you what we hear in from our constituents. And everything you just presented is forward-thinking. I'm just excited. You are the energy that we've wanted for a while, and not taking anything away from anyone in the past, but I mean, you bring such a breath of fresh air to what we want in an arts council. And it's all Carlos' credit, because I mean, he's the man. But no, seriously, honestly, I think y'all agree, like, wow, I'm excited to have you on board, and I think you're going to take this where it needs to go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Then if we can, for everyone in chambers, if we can adjourn, we're going to take about a 5-minute recess and start our regular meeting. I'll entertain motion, please.
So moved.
Motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned for 5 minutes.